On today's 22nd Century episode, I spoke with Loubna from Okra Technologies. Okra uses artificial intelligence to develop incredible solutions to problems prevalent in the world, with a particular focus on health tech. We discussed the future of artificial intelligence, what's exciting about its possibilities, whether regulation is necessary, and discuss a use case of the technology in helping to match foster children with the most suitable foster families. So I would just like to start off with a little introduction from yourself and how you founded Okra, please.
I'm Loubna, the CEO founder of Okra Technologies. Founded Okra in 2016 and with the main goal to reshape healthcare using artificial intelligence. I've devoted like 10 years in my career before Okra in applying AI for healthcare, and then with Okra I decided I want to achieve a high usage, so I decided to work with pharmaceutical companies and to help them use AI to bring the right drug to the right patient at the right time.
Awesome. And as I do with every podcast, I'll start off with my myth question. So what's the biggest myth or misconception that people have about Okra and AI in general?
That's great. There's a lot of myths about AI. So in terms of those myths about Okra are also about AI. So first myth, I would say, when people hear AI, they expect a system to be 100% accurate. They want to know exactly how the AI system makes decisions and how it works. However, if we look to the world around us, it's an uncertain place, and we cannot expect of machines to provide us more certainty than the world allows for.
No, that's fair enough.
And that's the big myth. So when you start explaining AI and you say, those are very similar to us humans. It mimics the way we learn. It learns from the past, and it provides suggestions to navigate the world. And as human beings, for AI's uncertainty is the soul of this technology, which means even the raw output of an AI system today is a probability score indicating how likely something is going to happen. But it never tell us what exactly going to happen. There is always a margin
Chance
of error.
Uncertainty.
Exactly. In AI, just as in life. And that's very normal. So, and that's a really big. So people think, how can we control this technology? If there is uncertainty, how can we trust it? We're gonna sit in a self-driving car in the future. How can we trust if there is an error? But if this error is gonna be reduced by a high scale from the human error, why we can just accept this uncertainty and go with it? So that's one of the big myths in AI.
Awesome. Yeah, so I guess if it's as long as the technology is better than human equivalent, then why not?
Yeah, exactly. And there are a number of other myths. I would say, for example, people talk about AI as some futuristic technology that doesn't exist and it's coming. It's going to take our jobs. And it is true. It's going to automate a lot of mundane tasks and mundane jobs. Where we need to upskill people to do other things, more smart things, where we need their emotional intelligence, where we need more aspects that the machine cannot do. But one of the aspects is people talking about AI like this consciousness machines that are gonna take over the world and gonna eliminate people from Earth, and that's another very big myth. But I don't want to even go there.
Fair enough. How do we upskill the people?
I think we need to, especially big organizations where you already have a workforce that have domain knowledge and that are really knowledgeable people. I think you should not let them go. You should upskill them to interpret the machine output, the AI output, and to connect with other people in the organizations or clients to translate that. So basically, in more interacting with the AI, as well as how we can articulate on that knowledge, because we do need the human in the loop to keep the moral values and respect the moral values and transfer that properly to the recipient, in this case a client or another internal stakeholder.
Yeah.
So
keeping that humanity kind of
course.
intact still.
Yes. Yeah, and to give you an example there, imagine a doctor or a teacher. You don't want a machine when we have a patient with diagnosed with cancer, maybe phase 4. You don't want a machine to be telling that message. You need to provide the evidence, and the doctor will decide finally, and also the message to be articulated to the patients. You want a human to be delivering that and transferring that in the right way.
Mm-hmm. So it's using it as a tool in a way.
Of course, to augment our decisions. It is an augmenting tool rather than a replacing tool. And
like an assistant in a way.
Of course, and there was the last time in a conference where they said if we replace the word AI, artificial intelligence, with assisted intelligence, that would make a big difference in perception for people.
That's interesting. Just bringing the focus kind of back to you guys at Okra, could you give a little bit of insight onto the specific sectors that you guys work with and some of the problems that you guys have solved?
Yeah, sure. We mainly work in healthcare. As I said, our main clients are life science companies. And what we do is we combine complex data sets coming from the real world environment, coming from medical records, from claims, coming from environment, from weather, from pollution. We put it all together, and then we train an AI algorithm to answer specific questions around forecasting, for example, forecasting of prescription of specific treatments, forecasting of outcomes of patients, forecasting for sales, and then the users of the systems, which are professionals and life science companies, they can ask the system around what is the characteristics of patients that would respond to my treatments, where can I find them, where shall I supply my drug, which doctors prescribe these new treatments, which are not, and why they don't. So in this way, what they used to do before is go to other vendors, start new projects, one-off, they pay a lot of money for that, and they get one-off insight, and when they get it, it's already too late.
Mm-hmm.
But now, in real time, they can ask a system a question in natural, simple way, and they get an answer, and not just an answer for today, also forecasting for the future. But the most important thing that our clients really like is the reasons. It's not just what's going to happen, but why? Why are those patients not going to respond to my treatments?
Okay.
So we built at Okra a very strong explainability engine on top of our AI that can explain the results of this machine in a way that a human being can do something about it. And that's not easy to do. That's very very crucial.
How do you get to that point? A lot of hours and great team?
Or? A great team that goes every day the extra mile than the day before, and just hungry to get it done. And I think it's what makes them go further is because we want to get there, not just on the ecosystem level for life science companies, but we want at some point to reach our target, which empower each one of us to take control of their life, telling you, this is your risk for diseases, this is the blood test you need to do, and this is the actions you need to do to get there. This is the doctors you should be seeing. So to empower you to take charge of your health. That's where we're gonna get, and everyone is doing the best to get there.
That's very exciting. So do you build a specific AI solution for each kind of different sector that you work in, or how does it kind of work in terms of building the software?
There are a lot of similarities between the different clients. We are in the same sector in healthcare.
For
healthcare databases, they repeat themselves. There is a lot of differences, depends on the disease area. For some diseases, we go and it depends also on the country, what is open data in that country, what is what our clients buy from other vendors in data and data that we have in-house. So There is a lot of similarities, but with every client, we take the depth. We don't want to be just on the shallow side. We go into the depth because what for us the most important, how we can deliver the value, how for also the precision of the prediction, how can we find those patients, their characteristics. And to get there, yes, we go the extra miles to include new data sets. But our systems are very scalable because once they start using it, they want more and more, and and then they want to extend to another country and another country, and that's how it grows.
Is it hard for you guys to get the data sometimes from each country though? Is there like restrictions or?
There are data with restrictions, but as we work, we have a partnership with our clients. We go for it with partners. So there are data that they have. We have a highly secure platform which they can use to upload their data. So we work with data ranges from clinical trials, very secure clinical trial data, to more very soft and less regulated data like sales and activity. So we have a range of spectrum of data, and it's mostly coming from client, but more than half is coming from open data sets that we collect ourselves.
Are they like publicly available almost then?
Some of them publicly, but we also aggregate and build our own corpuses, and we can integrate it. Depends on the disease area, of course.
Fair enough. And I guess the better the data, the better the outcome of what you guys can recommend, right?
Absolutely, the data quality is very important. The data inclusivity, so it needs to be inclusive. Sometimes just one aspect is not enough, so we do measure. We have a transparent platform. We're very transparent around our accuracy, our methodology, but most importantly around all the measures on bias in the data, inclusiveness, comprehensiveness of the data. So it's all measures we need to make our clients aware what is missing in the data, and that's all in line with the trustworthy AI, as I'm also part of the high-level group on artificial intelligence. And those all measures we need to consider to move to deployment with AI.
What's your thoughts on regulating AI? Do you think that we need to have regulation or not, or what's the boundary?
It depends on what type of regulation.
Okay.
I do believe that we do need to protect our values in Europe, our competitiveness in Europe, and if there are regulations helping us to do that, yes, please. But there are a big fundamental difference between AI and regulations. AI is, as I said, the soul of AI is probabilities and certainty. It learns, it adapts, and to get to the right direction. It's completely different concept and rules. Before the fourth industrial revolution, we had the logic, the third one, which we used rule-based system. We've been using all IT systems were rule-based, but now the revolution of AI is because we don't use rules anymore. We learn from what happened. So regulations, they put rules on technology, right? That will, if we put rules on the learning aspects of AI, it will reduce its learning power dramatically, which will result in also decrease in robustness, in accuracy, and that's exactly what we don't want, because we want to pool the power. And I think it's related to our society. A kind of uncertainty is stigmatized in our society. It's a sign of kind of humility, that we don't have that confidence. But embracing uncertainty, not just in humans but in machines, can help us really go far ahead into changing and meeting the world's biggest challenges. So I don't believe in a causal relationship between technology, in this case AI, and policy. The interaction between the two, between what's happening in society and what's driven by technology, we cannot predict it. I know your second question is about the future, but the best visionary of us cannot predict how AI will change our society. We can see what we can do today with the tools what we have, but how this interaction will be, will AI change our society for the better or the worse? We cannot say, but what we can do is we can plan how to embrace uncertainty and how we can drive this technology in the right direction, step for step. once at a time.
Yeah.
So, and that's, I think, what we should be doing rather than regulating.
Fair enough. You're an expert on the EU Commission, right? For artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
What's their take on AI to solve business challenges? Where do they sort of see it fitting in to business?
So we have a mission at the High Level Expert Group to maximize the benefits and minimize the risks.
Okay.
We are, I would say, united in diversity. We have people from different sectors of businesses, from healthcare, from automotive, from general IT. And we have people from the consumer side, protecting consumer values in Europe. We have experts from the research. We have different types of experts, and we are working hard to get into a consensus around ethical guidelines. We're very close. The draft guidelines were published in December, and now the final draft is going to be published soon. So that's a document that's summarizing a vision of many experts and their view. I think everyone is aware that competitiveness is the goal in Europe. We need to drive AI in Europe, but we want to do it in such a way that we foster our values and we also maximize the benefits. Well, we don't want around issues such as privacy, such as social scoring, such as things that doesn't match with our values in Europe to be harmed with this technology. So, and that's our task.
Awesome. Is there anything that excites you the most about AI and the technology?
I mean, my passion about AI is the fact that you embrace the unknown, you just learn and adapt and grow, but having the goal, the moon, shooting for the moon, that's where I want to go.
Yeah.
And learning from the past to move forward, that's quite inspiring to me. I don't believe in that we all know everything, how we get there. I don't believe in simple causality, that A always leads to B. I mean, it's fascinating, but it's not how things in real world happen. Life is much more complex than that. And we should not, but I think the attitude of learning and growing and adapting, that's not just my inspiration, that's my lifestyle that I'm striving for.
Amazing. I'd love to touch on one of the use cases that you guys have recently developed, specifically working with foster children. Could you kind of explore a little bit more about that? And I'd love to know how you guys have been able to work with AI in terms of the emotional aspect of foster care as well.
So I didn't mention that the work we did on foster care was similar to our work in healthcare. It's about human outcomes. Okay. Healthcare outcomes, it's similar to social outcomes. So in healthcare we look, is this patient responding to this treatment? In foster care we look, is this child responding to this placement? Yeah. So our task, our mission in foster care was, how can we maximize the stability of children in care in placement? Because we saw evidence, if we can maximize stability, the children have a better future. So we used historical data to learn from good and bad examples, and then to build a system that can first match, sandwich matching before placement, and then it can tell us during the placements, predicts the stability. Okay. How likely this placement will go 2 months, 5 months, 1 year, or how likely it will break. And that information is used to empower the social worker to prioritize where they need to put energy. So they get suggestions which placements they need to visit, which children, which families, and how they can support them. The explainability was also very key. Why the system flags this is a high-risk placement. Yeah. Why? Because we see this child just released from a very hard breakdown and placed in a rush in a family that they never had foster care children before. Yeah. That's right. That gives a big alarm for the system, and that's this placement, this family needs a lot of support. So here what you can see, the outcome is right. We selected outcomes about stability for children.
Okay.
The second thing which is important in foster care, in social care, in healthcare, looking into the past is important. We need to learn from the past. It's an evidence-based industry. So using historical data makes sense. And the third aspect, we are empowering a person. We're not automating. We're empowering the social worker with knowledge they didn't have before.
Yeah.
So that they can do their job better. So this is the three main principles for me. If we follow them, we can get AI to the right place without regulation. Just stream it. Choose the right outcomes. Use historical data when it is necessary, and don't bypass people. Empower them. This is the three component. If we make sure in a mechanism this is respected and this is driven, then we can ensure AI is applied in the right way. Of course, we still need to look into the specifics of bias in the data, transparency of the assessment. We need to explain the results, because it's powerful. When you explain it, you empower the person. You not just tell them, do this, tell them, do this, you know why? Because this and this and this. That makes sense.
Explainability is important.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
It makes them adhere to it. It makes them take action with full confidence. And the way they go with the confidence to see the patient or the child in care, with that confidence they can help. When people are empowered, they can do a lot. When they are not, it's always a question mark. How can they reach there?
And what's the success rate of the kind of foster children that you guys are placing, and how are you kind of determining that rate? What's the data you guys are sort of gathering historically and also kind of presently?
So the assessment based on the historical data, so we can predict good cases, like stability cases with high accuracy. I think in close to the 90s, if I remember well. And but there is always a margin, as I told you, there is always a margin of uncertainty.
For sure.
Or there's a margin of error. And by accepting that error, we can empower the people. If we say, no, we want it 100%, we cannot implement AI there. It's high accuracy for prediction. We put our thresholds high, so we make sure we flag all the cases that need intervening, even if we will flag few cases that actually doesn't require a visit. But in that case, this is how we choose. It's okay, we can put resources extra there, but we want every child that is in a risk of breakdown to get help. We flag cases that are need to be quickly intervened, and cases where we feel that they are at risk, but we cannot see enough things in the data.
Yeah.
So we flag this as yellow cases, and then we have green cases. Don't worry about those. High evidence that this is going well. So this is how basically it works.
And even with the green cases, I imagine there's still a slight element of uncertainty, right? It may, all the data that you can gather and all the evidence that you kind of get from the child and from the parents that the child's going to live with, we're never going to get to a world where it's going to be completely perfect, right? So
it's never going to be perfect. I mean, as I said, the world is uncertain.
Yeah.
You cannot expect machines to give you more certainty. I mean,
that's true. Yeah. Just look at the last few
years.
We
accept it from not even from humans. I mean, look, what is the power of us humans? What is the power? The power that we are smiling, that we are laughing every day, and we're happy, is because we have this amazing ability to face every day, which is uncertain day, with a big curiosity and optimism. And we're not saying tomorrow I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
We say tomorrow I'm gonna have a great day, right? So and that's our power and our capability to learn and grow and move on. That's exactly what we want to do with AI systems. We don't want them to be some controlled and systems that are following rules, and that will create this culture of fear and a lack of innovation. And that's why I think it's really important for us humans, policymakers, doctors, lawyers, programmers, to embrace this uncertainty in ourselves, in humans, and in machines.
How are you guys funded to do all the awesome work you're doing?
We're funded by a private investor, and
Nice.
he's coming from the social foster care sector. That's why we stretched to foster care. He was inspired by the work we did in health outcomes, and he said, can we do the same for foster care? It always takes someone who's visionary to drive some, and the love for the work. I think work is love made visible, and if foster care is his love, and that's how we apply AI to foster care.
I think it's a really great use case of AI.
I think I agree. I can't agree more.
Fair enough.
But I'm biased.
That's true. I'd love to do a quick fire round with you.
Mm-hmm.
Just quite interesting. So, Calpol or Nurofen?
Couple.
GSK or AstraZeneca?
Oh no, you can't give this to me.
I was wondering if that one would be a bit.
No. Both.
Okay. Okra or plantain?
Okra.
Okay. Sweet or savoury?
Savory.
Meat eater or vegan?
Meat or what?
Eating meat or like being vegan?
Do you have something in between?
Do you like vegetarian or
vegetarian?
a mixture? Okay.
Vegetarian.
Google or Alexa?
If I have to choose there, I would say Alexa, but rather
Okay.
not. Yeah.
Fair enough. And then final quick one. Louis Pasteur or Anirin Bevan?
It's a hard one. I'd go for Louis.
Why? Just out of interest?
For vaccines, right?
Yeah.
I think, vaccine been saving us from population from death, basically. And also, if you look now to the emerging markets, what
Difference is made.
Yeah, difference is made, and also what can still be done there. So I think it's been a huge achievement.
Anything you're reading at the moment that you'd recommend anyone listening to read?
Few reads. I would say The Prophet of Khalil Gibran.
Okay, interesting.
It's about embracing uncertainty, and it's very, very small poetry, but it's very, very nice. I love it. Before going to bed.
I'll have a look. And then finally, where do you see the future of artificial intelligence and Okra, not just in the next 10 years, but over the next 100 years? So sort of thinking quite long term.
Yeah.
It's quite hard, but...
And I would answer, I would say that's not the right question to ask because I'm an AI person.
Okay.
I
Fair
would
enough.
say, there is, even the best visionaries among us cannot say where this technology is going. But what we can say is, what is the world's biggest challenges we want to meet and drive this technology there? For me, what is important, there's a lot of things that we can tackle with this technology. Healthcare is my passion, but there are other education to drive climate change. There are to drive equality, even to drive connectivity and connecting people. But we need to choose the right outcomes. I think that's what we should be asking. What is those outcomes we want to get? What is our goal? And deploy the technology there. For Okra, I see that in the next 5 years we will be scaling with life science businesses, and we will be working with other stakeholders in the ecosystem and scaling across countries, across many disease areas. But I also see ourselves creating hubs where we can test this technology to bring benefits for the patient directly. After 5 years, I think that will be random predictions.
It's like lucky dip almost.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Loubna. That's super interesting. Thank you very much for joining me on the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for having this.
No worries. Thanks for listening. If you like this podcast, please leave us a review on the iTunes store if you're listening on an Apple device. It helps us out massively. And subscribe to hear about all the other exciting new emerging technologies we're going to uncover next. If you've got any examples of any companies or technology that we should be speaking to, then also please let me know. I'll leave all the ways of getting in contact with me down in the show notes. Thanks.